What's up?
God, how's it going, man?
Great. Joe, nice to meet you.
Yep.
We haven't met before, right?
No, I don't think so.
Because you were in THF.
Yeah, class
And
72.
okay, was that
Virtual.
virtual?
Yeah,
Okay.
the virtual cohort.
Yeah. Okay. I used to be in the classroom a lot, so sometimes I'm like, have we met before?
Yeah, no, I was one of the virtual guys. It was a good experience. I mean, it's an awesome experience. But yeah, the virtual world can be a little weird. But what was crazy was still just like those connections established and just building a community through the online world, right? I mean, I'm still in touch with a lot of those guys. It's pretty awesome.
How did you find THF? Like why did you do it? What was were you recruited? Did you look for it?
Yeah, so funny story. So I'd already made the commitment, right, that, my family and I we're gonna transition out of the military. It's time to retire.
Uh-huh.
And I was doing some other stuff, right? Like the Commit Foundation, ACP, kind of some mentorship stuff. And there was a buddy at work who's an Intel guy, and he said, "Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, I got to do an interview for THF." And I was like, "What's THF, man?" And he's like, "Oh, well, it's a special operations deal." I was like, "Well, I'm technically not a special operator."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Okay, it's interesting." So then I just said, "I want to do some research." So researched it, got connected with Bob Newman. I said, "Hey, man,
Oh yeah.
here's the deal." I said, "Here's the deal, man. Here's my background. Here's where I've intersected in the soft community in Iraq and Afghanistan. Here's the work I did for him." Um, and he said, "Hey, man, throw a packet in." And I said, "All right, I got it." And so I knocked it out, and then they picked me up,
No
and
way.
yeah, and I started with class 72 and never looked back.
It's not just your mom that thinks you're special.
Yeah, true story. Although I think my wife would disagree, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was incredible. So, I mean, for me, look, I'm a faith driven guy. So, I felt, that was really, God taking care of me, kind of throwing me a bone like, "Hey, listen, dude, you don't listen
Yeah.
to me a lot. Like, here's your sign, man. Like, here's a rope. I need you to pull
Yeah.
on this a little bit." But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, and I'm a huge believer and proponent of the Honor Foundation and now the Vector Accelerator. These things it goes well. The scope is so much beyond, helping the men and women transition out of service to whatever their next chapter in life is, right? I mean, it's just like legit alumni lifetime tribe, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I probably do 3 or 4 Honor Foundation calls a week, with guys that
Really?
were in my cohort. Yeah, it's that's another thing. Like the cups of coffee and
Yeah.
stuff. I I told myself, hey, look, I gotta pay this back somehow.
Mm,
Like I got to give back to this thing that gave me everything and more.
yeah.
So I make it a point, to be active in the Slack channels on the Honor Foundation. Guys will hit me up, whether it's about Amazon, which is where I'm
Uh-huh.
at now, or just, "Hey man, can you look at my resume? Can let's just have a conversation about
Yeah.
transition because it's hard, right?"
Yeah. Well, by the way, Joe, we're in the episode. I didn't say that, but we're
Yeah.
in it. Right?
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome to the show. Um, it sounded like you took advantage of being in the classroom at THF. Like, kind of bring us back to that a little bit. Obviously, you're taking advantage now as an alumni or
Yeah.
alum. Is it alum or alumni? Whatever.
Yeah, I
You get
always
it.
say alumni, but I think sometimes I see people say alumnus, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to use ChatGPT to see which one is correct. Um, but yeah, no, so it really started with that first conversation with Bob Newman. I remember sitting in a parking lot in my truck, and I jumped on a call with him, and he said, "Hey, man, what do you know about the Honor Foundation?" And I said, "Hey, man, what I appreciate is that it's just a simple 3-phased approach, right?
Mhm.
It's the figure out who you are,
Yeah.
your gear, which is all the stuff that comes with it, right? The resume,
Yeah.
the LinkedIn, the whole networking aspect, and then your workup, right? Which is kind of
Yeah.
the culminating part of the Honor Foundation. Like, hey, you're doing a workup for an op, right? I mean, this is your
Yeah.
next phase line, and doing the treks and all that stuff, and really
Yeah.
just setting you up. So I appreciated the very pragmatic approach that the Honor Foundation had, and I was all in. Look, I mean, I remember it was 2 days a week. My family supported. I said, "Hey, look, this is going to be a big commitment. It's not like some of these other programs where it's kind of on your own pace. Like, hey, this is
Right.
a block of time, 2 days a week.
Yeah.
If they took a chance on me, so I'm going to fully just dive into this." So
Yeah.
it was just going in with the mindset of just being switched on, right, and taking everything I could out of it.
Um, Tell me about Amazon. How did that
Amazon,
happen?
yeah. So Amazon's a wild place, man. So Amazon is good, but it's crazy. So prior to jumping in with the Honor Foundation, right, I had already been linked up with one of the lead recruiters in Amazon, and specifically the Amazon Military Pathways program.
Okay.
So that's what I'm in.
Okay.
So we had some conversations. I talked to some guys that were in Amazon, and what appealed to me about the Pathways program is it's a leadership track in Amazon. So it's
Hmm.
a come in as a senior ops guy, and I get to lead people and be around the workers, like the associates, and
Mhm.
it feels very much like home for me. I mean, it's a wide cast of society. It's
Uh-huh.
people are motivated by all different kinds of things, and to be able to drive them, to the goals, right, of Amazon.
Yeah.
But so that appealed to me. It's a fast track leadership deal, where you're, I guess, simply put, you're on an accelerated track in Amazon. A little more
Yeah.
visibility, a little more mentorship. They kind of take
Uh-huh.
a vested approach, like, hey, one, you're a veteran. Two, you made it into this Amazon pipeline or Pathways pipeline. So we really have a vested interest to make sure that we're giving you the tools to be successful.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
appealed to me about it.
Yeah. We with Vector Accelerator, so I don't know how much you know about it, but it's if you as you went through THF, you think of that first phase, you figuring you out, that's Vector Accelerator essentially. And there's some slight differences in specific curriculum, but the end result's the same, like clarity. But one of the real fundamental questions we want to help people answer is what drives you. And you just talked about that inside Amazon. You see all these different people with different motivations. Not to put you on the spot, but what have you reflected on for yourself? Like what's driving you at this point in your career?
Yeah, so that's great question, Scott. So I I actually made a LinkedIn post this morning where I was talking about focus. Like focus is a superpower. Because I'm the kind of guy that I'll just get distracted. I'll get on LinkedIn and it's just like this steady stream of a highlight reel, right?
Uh-huh.
It's there's a lot of shiny objects, it's all these different opportunities. And then I would find myself on my days off like, man, am I where I'm supposed to be? Like am I truly
Yeah.
motivated with what I'm doing? Like, is this
Yeah.
aligned with my sense of purpose? Because at the end of the day, look, I've kind of flippantly said, at the end of the day, it's just boxes on a conveyor belt at Amazon.
Uh-huh.
It's boxes on a conveyor belt. And my facility is pushing about 3 million a week. Um, yeah, that's kind of
I think
normal.
I think at least 2 million of those show up at our doorstep
Right.
every
And
week.
that's the thing. I figure I might as well work for the company that's dropping off boxes at my house every day. But so, I tend to I went through, I'm not going to call it a rough patch, but right, I went through I'm a year out from the military. So I've been through some kind of valleys where it's like, hey, I don't know if I'm super motivated by this. Like so you start getting pulled in different directions. But I had a couple impactful moments for me at Amazon where, one day, I'm just standing kind of on this catwalk overlooking this. I mean, it's just a ginormous facility, and there's about 400 employees doing a million different things. I've got 7 managers that work for me that, most of them are college kid, straight out of
Mm,
college or
yeah.
straight out of an MBA program. And they're they're cutting their teeth, you know, they're 24
Yeah.
years old, like, hey, welcome to life, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just looking at all this stuff and I'm thinking, man, this is crazy. Like this is,
Mhm.
you know, people don't see this is behind the curtains. I mean, people see the box that arrives at their
Right.
doorstep.
Yeah.
They don't see, you know, you know, like they don't see the 60-year-old lady
No.
that still is in a position that has to work, that's in
No.
that warehouse,
Right.
you know, and just grinding, you know,
Yeah.
and she's motivated by taking care of her family. Or they don't see the young
Yeah.
mom that's single, that's got
Mm.
2 kids, you know, that she's just a forklift driver, right?
Mm.
But to her, like that is providing for her family. And I have
Yeah.
the opportunity, right, to develop a connection with her or develop a
Uh,
connection with, you know, with a young guy that, you know, is trying to figure out life. And he's like, hey, right now this isn't where I want to be forever, but I got to pay the bills, right? Or I'm
Right.
putting myself through college at night. So now I'm coming in here and I'm putting boxes on a conveyor belt for 10 hours straight.
Wow.
Um, you know, because I don't have a college fund or I don't have,
Right.
you know, whatever resource it is. So I'm gonna just do this. Um, the what motivates me, you know, is being around people.
Mhm.
And look, people have strong opinions about Amazon, and I see it when I make posts on LinkedIn about Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, and it's fine. Right. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, right? And no one is like ugly or mean. It just, you know,
Yeah.
some people just there's a lot of strong bias about Amazon. It kind of seems like you're either all in and you love it, or
Yeah.
hey, I went there and it was terrible. Its work
Yeah.
life balance is non-existent. You know, they just care about the end result. And but for me, you know, I just kind of see through that noise,
Yeah.
and there's just little reminders every day, you know, where it's uh you know, a lady will just come up to me and say, Joe, you know, you're the most awesome dude in this building. Like, thank you for really caring about us. You know, she gives me a hug on the floor. She's unpacking boxes and sorting stuff around. But she took that moment, right, to say, Joe, hey, I want to let you know I appreciate your leadership. You know,
Yeah.
thanks for what you're doing. And
Yeah.
that's what I try to drive with my managers, right?
Yeah.
It's, hey, you know, Amazon will talk a lot about the operational metrics and we got to hit the daily goals and remove, you know, risk and barriers to those goals. But
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, man, step one is just connect with the humans, like connect
Yeah.
with the people that are making this happen. Because without them, we're not doing anything. And I'm telling you, if you establish that connection, there's a sense of trust and ownership. They'll
Yeah.
work really hard for you. It's just like the
Yeah.
military. They show up and they'll work really hard. It's just a different uniform, right?
Right.
Um, I I am motivated. My sense of purpose is being around people, leading people, establishing
Uh-huh.
human connections, and just I love storytelling too. Like that's kind of my
Uh-huh.
new hobby. And
Uh-huh.
every day it's just I hear people's stories.
Yeah.
You know, they tell me that, you know, they'll just come up to me and they just tell me a life story or a snippet of something about their
Yeah.
life. Totally unprovoked, totally,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. That person doesn't
Yeah.
have to tell me, you know, that story, but they
Right.
did. They trust me, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. What's one thing? So that's you share like a similarity between military and Amazon. What's something that's been surprising to you for better or for worse? What's like so like drastically different than your past
Yeah.
experience?
So I I'm hesitant to call it micromanagement because I feel like I got in trouble a few months ago when I used the word micromanagement.
Don't worry, no
Uh,
one's watching this.
yeah, but no, it's fine. But you know, I think, you know, in the military, there was this sense of trust, right? There was a shared trust. You go through all the training, you go through the workup. We're deployed to Afghanistan. I'm in the 101st. We're getting after it, right? I mean, we're
Uh-huh.
just getting after it. And you know, we're in a remote location. So it's just me and 150 dudes just getting after it. And, you know, my battalion commander is, I mean, he's like a day away, you know. I mean, and so there's a sense of trust. Like, hey, Joe Black, man, you got it. Like, here's my
Yeah.
intent. You know, here's my
Yeah.
intent. I trust you through all these shared hardships and training that we went through. That
Right.
you're going to do the right thing. You're going to execute. And you're going to take care of the men. and you're going to accomplish the mission, right?
Mm.
Whereas, I won't say that this is true in all of corporate world, but my experience at Amazon is there is maybe not a lack of trust, but there's a hesitancy for trust where I've had
Yeah.
conversations with my boss, a general manager said, I'm like, look, man, I got it. Like you just got to trust me, man.
Yeah.
And I told him, we had a conversation one day and he's like, oh, I heard you did, X thing and,
Uh-huh.
but you didn't talk to me about it. You did it and you executed. I said, look, man, I just told him, I said, if I'm coming to you every time there's a situation or every time I need to make a decision, I'm coming to you, then
Yeah.
you don't need me. Like, you
Yeah.
don't need me. Like, what am I being paid to do? Like, yeah, I'm being paid by Amazon to make decisions and I'm being paid to run operations in this building so you can kind of lead the building and build a
Right.
culture. And he's like, what are
Right.
you talking about? I'm like, hey man,
Right.
I look at you like you're like the commander, man. Like
Yeah.
you set the tone in the building, you establish the culture. I say you should be just doing the fun stuff. Walk around, talk to associates, make people feel
Yeah.
good about themselves, right? You can yell
Yeah.
at us, but we're the ones in the trenches, right? Getting this done. So it's a lot of,
Interesting.
Amazon operates on Slack as well.
Okay.
It's just a lot of, you know, hey, did this happen?
Double
Or if,
checking.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the double checking the check,
Uh-huh.
it's like, man, I told you we did that.
Interesting.
Like we're good.
Interesting.
I'm like, hey man, we're going to hit goals. We're going to over execute
Yeah.
goals. And I'm managing profit and loss. I'm managing headcount. That's another thing we don't really do in the military. You got what you got, right?
Right.
It's like now, it's like, hey, I got too many people in the building. I'm like, when I was new, I was like, cool, man, more people, we're going to crush more work. And they're like, no,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
we're going to lose money. Like, we got to get them out of here. And I'm
Oh,
like, yeah, I'm like,
never thought
oh,
about that.
yeah, okay, that's different. So, it's just like managing headcount, managing this, managing the friction that happens every day. But it's
Yeah.
just a lot of double checking the initial check,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
a lot of late night, not I say late night text. They don't expect an answer, but it's just a lot of like coming into work with already a string of Slack messages about
Mm-hmm.
what to do for the day, what to
Yeah.
expect. It's just like, hey man, you don't have to send that to me. Like I'm gonna come in switched on. I need you to
Yeah.
trust me. Like
Yeah.
I get it, when you're brand new, right? There you have to
Yeah.
earn that trust. Right? I understand that. But now I'm a year in, it's like, hey man, I'm running the best team in this building. There's 4 teams. And I don't mean that to brag. It's just, hey, from an operational metric standpoint, it speaks for itself. So I just need you just focus on some other problems and let me just do my thing. Let me be Joe Black
Yeah.
and we're gonna make you look good, man. Just trust me.
Is that you? Is that your military? Like, are you speaking on behalf of military culture? Like, because
I
I think
think
that's really
so.
fascinating. Like what you're saying. Like, is that
Yeah.
almost like if you imagine an audience of other corporate leaders, are you saying, hey, one thing you got to understand about us is we'll get stuff done.
Yeah, I had a great conversation yesterday actually at work with my counterpart. So there's 2 kind of senior ops guys or girls, on a team, and we're running
Uh-huh.
different departments. We work together, right? It's all a connected system. But I was talking to him. I was back in his department, and we were trying to solve a problem. And he said, "Hey, man, did you run it by the GM?" I was like, "Hey, Dennis, this is what we need to do, man. We're gonna do this right now. I'm gonna go execute. I just need you to be ready." And he said, "Well, hey, we need to run that by the GM." I said, "No, man, it's like it's already happening." I said, "No, we're gonna execute, and I'll just keep them abreast of the situation, right?" And he
Yeah.
was like, "Well," he's like, "I don't know if we're allowed to do that." I said, "So these are right." So
Yeah. Yeah.
what I've learned, what I've experienced in Amazon is, I've run across a couple of other military guys. Actually linked up with a retired Navy SEAL in Seattle. We went to a little corporate training thing, and he works at a site in Virginia, and we were
Huh.
talking about this. We have the same mindset, right? It's the, hey, I'm gonna show up. I understand my boss's intent. Like I've
Yeah.
got the objective for the day, and I'm
Yeah.
going to crush it. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna solve problems. I'm gonna manage friction. I'm gonna anticipate risk, right? That's something I'm talking to my younger managers about is, hey,
Uh-huh.
it's not super helpful to come to a sync meeting and just tell me of all the things that are happening bad that are preventing you. It's like, hey man, I need you to like talk to me about risk. Like, what are you seeing? What may happen in the future
Uh-huh.
that has not happened based on what's going on right now? And then
Yeah.
let's talk about how we solve that problem or how we put
Yeah.
in mitigating measures, right, to eliminate that before it kind of it bites us.
Huh.
But what I've noticed is my other counterparts that are not from, the military community, there's just like almost this hesitancy of
Mm.
I'm a little bit anxious about making a decision that I may feel is above my pay grade.
Right.
I think, I would say this to be factual. My counterpart, like he appreciates the over communication from our GM, right? He
Uh-huh.
he wants all the things, right? Tell me
Yeah.
what to do. I
Yeah.
need to, give me all the goals, and I'm going to escalate every problem to him, and he's going to tell me exactly what needs to happen to fix it. I'm like, no, man. I'm like, I got 5 problems going on, and he doesn't know about 4 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's one that I can't handle at my level. So I'm like, hey, man, I'm coming to you because I'm just out of schlitz. Like, I don't, I need your help
Yeah.
actually. Um, but no,
Where
it's
did that
just
come from in the military? I'm a just a regular old civilian. Like, when did that get rooted in you? That I just call that
early.
ownership, or what?
Right,
I don't
like
know how you call it.
early, I remember showing up to the 101st in 2004 as a scout platoon leader,
Uh-huh.
and half the division was already in Iraq. We were about to go to Iraq. We had about a 7-month train up, and it's like, hey, we're going to Baghdad. Here's your scout platoon. It's like 40 dudes, and they're like, you got to get them ready. Like, we're going to combat.
Wow.
Um, and my company commander, was he's one of my mentors, and we're still in touch today. I mean, I love this guy. He sat me down early on. He's like, hey man, I'm going to give you the tools to be successful, and we're going to train really hard, but at the end of the day, when you're on a combat patrol with your scout platoon, like, you got it, man. Like, I
Huh.
can't be there, I can't be there to provide oversight or to give you all the answers. Like, we may be separated, right? And I have to be able to trust you that you're going to
Yeah.
accomplish the mission. So it was kind of a two-way
Hmm.
street to me. I realized that I had to not only earn trust from my superiors, right, my company commander, my battalion commander, but I had to build trust with my guys. I mean, I had to
Yeah.
establish a sense of trust with the 45 guys that were in my scout platoon.
Yeah.
And we had to have this mutual respect for each other that, hey, we're gonna do some things and we're gonna make some hard decisions, and bad things may happen, right? We can't eliminate all bad things. It's how do we overcome that? How do we anticipate and move forward, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, again, I was like 23 years old, right?
Huh.
So it's just
Yeah.
like being handed the keys to a Ferrari. Like,
Yeah.
hey
Yeah.
man, don't wreck it.
Well, yeah, life or death Ferrari.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
don't wreck it. Here's a brand new thing. Um, I'm trusting you with human life, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, all just like I talk about, all my employees at Amazon have stories. Man,
Yeah.
I miss that about the military, whether it's late night sitting in a Humvee or doing some long patrol. And,
Uh-huh.
I call them kids, man. I mean, that's probably
Yeah.
disrespectful, but I got 18-year-old guy,
Yeah.
he's from Wisconsin. He's my RTO, my radio operator, and he's a big hunter, and he's just
Uh-huh.
telling me, we're just walking around Baghdad, and he's telling me, he's like, man, sir, he's like, I can't wait to get back home. I'm gonna go mule
Mm.
deer hunting. He's telling me about his mom and his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, so it feels the same, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but I think early on, there was just this, it was rooted in me that, hey, I'm in the big leagues now. I'm getting
Yeah.
paid to make decisions, and some of them are really hard decisions, and some of them are life and death decisions.
Yeah.
And that, that went on for 21 years in the military. And so now,
Now you're looking at cardboard boxes on a
now it's
conveyor
awesome.
belt.
Scott, I'm like sitting at Amazon, and a lot of my counterparts are getting super stressed out. I'm like, some of my managers, right? Some of my young managers, they're getting stressed out, and
Yeah.
maybe one of them told me 2 days ago they had to brief the GM on something. There's a project they're working on.
Uh-huh.
And she was telling me, she's like, Joe, I'm super nervous about this. Like, I can't sleep. I said, look, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you what a general told me a long time ago. Hey, there's a lot of things in life to be nervous about, but a brief isn't one of them. Like, but it's, I think what helped me with 21 years in the military, making life and death decisions, being in very very cool, but very tough, demanding places, environments,
Yeah.
is the operating environment is not scary at Amazon. At the end of the day, Scott, it's
Yeah.
cardboard boxes on a conveyor belt. And either we're gonna push out 3 million a week, or I'm just gonna bridge it to my boss and say, hey, we didn't hit the metrics for the day, and this is what
Yeah.
happened. And then there's a sense of ownership too, right? Like if I make a decision and we miss, because of something I either failed to do or a decision that I did that proved to not be the best decision, then I
Yeah.
own it, right? It's the sense of
Yeah.
ownership. I just tell my boss, hey, it's on me, man. I don't
Right.
blame my managers. I don't blame the equipment. I just say, hey, James, like we missed and I own it. I made this
Yeah.
decision. It didn't work out. We'll correct it.
Yeah.
You can expect that you will never see that miss again.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just like I'm not stressed out going to work. Amazon can definitely be a stressful place because it's just really fast, right?
Yeah.
And it never stops. It's 24/7,
Yeah.
365 days a year. It never
Yeah.
stops. And it can't stop because they have same day delivery, right? I mean,
Right.
when a
What?
company promises, right, hey,
True.
you can order that, your Bluetooth meat thermometer at 9 a.m. and it's going to be in your driveway by noon because you got to cook out that night. Like they got to grind, man. So, but it's just like, I'm able to put it in perspective, right? It's like, hey, man,
Yeah.
this is just a job. And I don't actually know that this is my sense of purpose, right? For me, Scott, my sense of purpose was being in the military.
Yeah.
I knew from probably when I was like early high school, I think about 10th grade, that hey, I'm going in the military. Like I'm doing
Yeah.
this.
That's cool.
And I was super committed to it and I loved it. And I used to think for a long time, man, I'm never getting out of the military. I'll do 40 years if they let me. But then
Yeah.
life happens, right? You have family
Yeah.
and you're like, all right, we gotta figure this out.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like manage stress and and the trust and everything that was established early on, as a young 23, 24-year-old lieutenant. And
Yeah.
then that just grows over a 21-year career. So now I think my task is to kind of coach and mentor and impart some of that wisdom onto my young managers, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to be in Afghanistan leading a combat patrol,
Right.
but they can take away some lessons learned from that, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
there's methods that they can apply to like, hey, let's manage stress, right? Let's talk
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
hey, you feel like you're overwhelmed with all these tasks because you're doing them an inefficient way, right? We can couple some of these tasks together, right? In the military, we did lots of things that were like simultaneous, right? It's like combined arms, right? It's multiple things happening at once to overwhelm the enemy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, hey, Abby, like that's what we need to do at Amazon. We need to figure out how we pair up a lot of these things, not multitasking. It's just how
Uh-huh.
do we become super efficient? Because Amazon asks us to do a lot of things every day. How
Yeah.
do we put these things together and accomplish multiple tasks in kind of one action, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, by the way, you just got to breathe. Like, you just got to exhale.
What's your best advice for someone who's hiring a veteran?
I would tell you, I think there's pure gold in hiring. I think these companies need to tap into, the Vector Accelerator, the Honor Foundation. When I think, when you're hiring a veteran, you're hiring a man or woman who is super committed, who has a sense of purpose that I would say is peerless, right? It's unmatched.
Hmm.
A commitment to the team. They've been in a tribe, right? And they trust their brothers and sisters. They're gonna give everything they got. And I don't think that stops, right? I don't think, we may say like, hey, I'm gonna power it down now. I don't want to be as I don't want to red line every day like maybe I was doing on the teams. But
Yeah.
Scott, I'm telling you, I see veterans in the workforce, right? I have some that work with me. I've worked with some when I did a fellowship with JP Morgan.
Uh-huh.
There is this sense of commitment to the organization that almost comes instant for them. I think when I first showed up to Amazon, it's like, hey man, I'm all in. Like I'm gonna show up and I have a lot of stuff to learn, right? I don't understand the business language. I don't understand all the tools and systems that Amazon's using, but you're
Yeah.
going to get the best version of Joe Black every day when I walk through that door. I'm going to be switched on and focused.
That's
And I
cool.
just think it's a sense of pride, right? I mean, in the military, we want to win, right? Because winning is life and death.
Yeah.
So I just think we carry that over to a degree of again, I just think when a company hires a veteran, you are getting someone who is laser focused and who's been through some very hard challenges that your company's probably not going to present that level of a challenge to them. So they're going to be able to overcome a lot, and
Yeah.
they're going to be an asset like from day one.
Yeah. Dude, that fires me up. Joe, you're a like model alum or alumni of THF.
Yeah.
And so thankful. I mean, I feel like I'm just like picking your brain about leadership and culture and how that translates. So I don't know, this has been super fascinating conversation for me. I've been taking notes too. And thanks for your supportive Vector. I hope we can like, link arms.
Yeah,
And
you bet, Scott. This was an
yeah.
honor for me. Like you have no idea. Like I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I was telling my wife about it this morning. She's a school teacher,
Oh,
and
sweet.
so I'm just like, dude, I'm so fired up for this. And
Yeah.
I was talking to a buddy yesterday. I mean, again, I'm doing network calls, cups of coffee.
Yeah.
You can I promise you, Scott, I will be forever a fan of Vector Accelerator, the Honor Foundation. I'm gonna highlight you guys every chance I get, man. What you
Sweet.
guys are doing is invaluable to our tribe, and I am big time indebted to you, man. Big time.
Yeah.